In life, there is no beginning, there is no end. Just an endless cycle that has persisted generation after generation. One day, a 12-year-old village boy began a path of his own. I was born in the year 1972 in a remote village in Mugu district of Nepal, located on the border between Tibet and Nepal. Mugu is known for being both the most remote district in Nepal, as well as the least developed. The district has one of the lowest literacy rates in the world. Most villages don't even have their own school. Families are forced to send their children into hard labor rather than attend school. These children do not have the privilege to have the most basic education. Most of their lives are spent working in the fields or doing housework. They wake up 5 in the morning and work until evening hours without receiving any income. There are few schools in Mugu district, and those schools lack the proper resources and teachers. In my village, there were no schools. The only path for children at my village was to follow their parents' footsteps into a life of hard labor and farming.
Life in the village is very hard, since we don't have any education. The only way living here is doing hard work all day and night in order to feed our family. I don't want my son to have a life similar to mine.
The children of Mugu village grow up with no formal education and are unable to find jobs outside of the village. This results in Mugu village falling into a vicious cycle of poverty from generation to generation. When I was 12 years old, a senior monk visited our village and took me to Shechen Monastery in Kathmandu. My father sent me to a monastery to study Buddhist teaching under His Holiness Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, a great master of Tibetan Buddhism. From then on, I lived at the monastery for 14 years. When I met His Holiness Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, he had such a wonderful vibe around him that for a second I thought he was God who appeared out of nowhere in my life. At the monastery, we were only required to learn Buddhism. There was no education in modern language like English or Nepalese. Without the ability to properly read and write English, it is very hard to survive in this world. For example, when uneducated people from my village travel to cities, they face difficulties finding good paid work. At Shechen, my master taught us the importance of developing compassion within ourselves and for others. After His Holiness passed away and went to Nirvana, I continued his ideology and began my own journey of helping others in need. In 1998, he established Ananda School for the children in the northern Himalayan region, where around 90 students were able to receive modern education. After receiving a large donation, Jigme Dorje Rinpoche founded Kowalung Monastery in Kathmandu in 2005. The monastery acted as a boarding school and was able to take in more orphans, underprivileged children, along with several monks. The new monastery was now able to start providing food and shelter for the children, along with Buddhist teachings. The aim of this monastery is to provide needy Himalayan children with access to free education, food, and quality health services. Education includes Buddhist philosophy and also modern subjects like English, science, computers, mathematics, etc. If the children want to leave Lamahood, they will need more than just Buddhist teachings to succeed. I want the children to spread their knowledge back to the villages and support their families. If they are unable to do that, then at least their lives will be worthwhile. That is my wish. Since opening his doors in 2005, Rinpoche continues to accept new children into Kowalung Monastery each year. Many of the children taken in by our monastery were orphaned by the April 2017 mega earthquake, which took over 9,000 lives. Due to the lack of funds, there are currently only 60 young monks living at the school. There are many children from rural villages that want to attend, but sadly, most must be turned away due to limited resources at the school. The Kowalung Monastery wishes to acquire more funding to take in more children from numerous poor villages in the Himalayan region. Our monastery faces financial difficulties from time to time. It has been hard to provide our monks with proper clothes to wear, food to eat, and books to read. Due to the monastery's funding problems, the temple can only provide the most basic primary school education. Because of a shortage of teachers, more advanced students are assigned to teach younger children. Despite a willingness and ability to learn more, older children cannot continue the studies to the next level. With additional funding, the school will be able to buy new books, hire more teachers, and provide higher-level classes. After 30 years, I went back to Mugu district and found no improvement in conditions compared to when I was a child. Anyone would be surprised that there are still children living without proper clothing, hospitals, or schools. Seeing them live in 17th century condition is very hard to bear. However, Rinpoche does not want the children's future to be like this. He hopes that in addition to learning Buddhist teaching, these children can have a complete higher education. Every child is like a seed. As long as you cultivate it patiently, it will grow into a large tree and then continue to spread more seeds for the future. Who knows? These monks might even change the world someday.
I will share my knowledge of what I've learned here. When I grow up, I will become a teacher and teach other people in my village. I will teach them how to become a good person, just like how Rinpoche taught me.
There are many villages in the world that are as poor as Mugu village, where the children cannot receive a good education and are caught in a cycle of poverty and pain. For the past few years, Rinpoche and many compassionate people try to provide as much help as possible in order to change the children's path.
If I weren't at Kowalung, I would have never acquired the well-rounded education I needed to succeed in life. Instead, I would be working in my village as a laboring farmer. My main goal after completing my education is to go into undeveloped villages in our country, like my own village Mugu, and help the people living there.
We may not know exactly how Samsara works, but we can use our power to improve the opportunities for the younger generation and help them break out of a hopeless cycle and pursue a brighter future. In the future, we have big dreams and projects for the Kowalung Monastery to serve more needy children in the undeveloped regions of Nepal. It is difficult to achieve this dream, but I believe that it will happen one day. I don't care about my own hardships, but I do care that these unprivileged children have an opportunity to prosper in their lives.